الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. قال الله تعالى: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وقال الله تعالى: واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا والصالحات يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for another Jumu'ah and another opportunity to gather on a day that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that there is no better day over which the sun has risen. Allah, in a riwayah from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, related by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he said, if Allah loves a person, He calls out to Angel Jibril and He tells him, I love so-and-so. And He says to Angel Jibril with this information, love him, or love this person. And Angel Jibril would love him and make an announcement amongst the inhabitants of the heavens. And then the entire inhabitants of the heavens will be told, love this person, love so-and-so. And then the entire inhabitants of the heavens then begin extolling and expressing and truly loving this person that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in His realm. Many of us, on smaller scales, higher spectrums, we desire to be known. We desire that maybe we walk into a room, people recognize us. They big up us. They say, oh, that's such and such. Oh, that's so-and-so. And what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned within this is that there's an entire different level of being known. And that is being known to Allah. Beyond that, beyond being known to Allah, there's being loved by Allah. Beyond that, it is Allah then telling Ruhul Qudus, Jibril alayhi salam, I love Ahmed. I love Aisha. I love Kareem, Brandon, whoever. And then Angel Jabrail takes this infamy. He takes this this notoriety and he spreads it amongst the heavenly realms. If we drive anywhere 2 o'clock in the morning, most places, if you're in a rural area, you don't hear nothing but the crickets. You go many places in the world, it's very quiet in the still of the night. But think about what it's like when the murmurs of the heavens are mentioning our name under the account of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioning our name. People run PR campaigns day and night. I was just watching something about the Queen of England and their family. And they have 4 PR officers within their castle just to make sure they get good news about them to the people. There's no PR campaign. There's no marketing, no strategy available here that can do what was just mentioned in the previous hadith. Having Allah mention our name, mention our love. And so Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did not fear, as he related to the companions, he did not fear that we would run into idolatry of him, that we would somehow find ourselves worshiping him. He feared that we would end up competing for dunya, competing for the worldly life, competing for these attractions. One facet of that, one symptom of that is seeking fame, seeking to be known, seeking to have notoriety and infamy. And I'll be honest, inshallah, I'm gonna turn this over. I'll be honest, I recently came up the news of a woman who she's like a personality or something of that nature, like very famous person. She's one of those people who like famous because they're famous. And she faked the death of her child just to win like a contest, a prize or something like that, and like sent information out in the internet about it. And so this is an extreme case. This is an extreme case, but it's indicative of the sort of heart disease that has descended upon the people, in our particular lifetime. And so what do we do when we hear things like this? What should we be calling to heart? What should we be thinking about when we're hearing information like this about people who made this type of very drastic decisions? Of course, her name is being like dragged through the mud right now, but she came to a point where she would say, I'm willing to fake the death of my own child just so people could look at me just a little bit more. And as we just mentioned, that Rasulullah ﷺ said, what's the highest mention that you can have? Is that Allah exclaims his love for you. And so as we as Muslims, we as people who are trying to be believers, we should find ourselves always seeking that attention, seeking that fame, that inshallah, Allah exclaims all our names in the highest realms, unheard by the human ear, unseen by the human eye. And that's the highest sincerity that somebody can have. And so we won't beat up on the lady or sister who do it. Allah have mercy on her. It's just a small point. Because in this age, with all the devices and everything available, this could happen to anybody. We don't discount ourselves or take ourselves out of that, out of us having in our heart some desire that, we should be known. One sales technique that they tell you, if you cold call somebody, say your name as if they already know you, because people want to know that they know something. Hey, John, it's me calling. They'll say they know you even if they don't know you, because they don't want to get caught slipping. Right? We want to know things about people. And the second point is that many of us who may have public eye, people who are going to be in public eye or do things, whatever it is, most likely you are already going to be known anyway. Most likely you are already going to be utilized in that way anyway. We always take the example of Khalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu, right? He becomes Saifullah, sword of Allah. Prior to that, he was Saiful Khalid. He was already going to be a warrior. He was already going to be known for being a great general in battle. What was the pivot? He pivoted that utilization towards Allah. Somebody's already going to be an engineer. They're already going to be a great father, great mother, whatever your utility is in this world. But is it for Allah? So many of these people already going to be famous. Already going to be famous. Already going to have people been watching them since they was 14 years old. However, if they do not have an orientation towards Allah, they'll just be famous for the sake of being famous. And they won't be trying to be famous in the heavenly realm. And they won't be trying to be known by Allah and loved by Allah. Imam Ghazali, who is called the proof of Islam, he rises from the mud. Where I'm from, they say you got it out the mud, right? You started from the bottom with nothing. His father had nearly nothing in his life. Very poor man, very poor, destitute man. And he dies early on in Imam Ghazali's life. And Imam Ghazali rises from very impoverished conditions, studies, learns at 33. He becomes, and he earns a spot at the highest realm in the Islamic world of study and scholarship at Nizamiya University in Baghdad. And at the height of his scholarship, at the height of him being able to squash anybody in debate, at the height of his prestige, at the height of his money. Scholars make a whole lot of bunch of money back then. Might not be the same case now, right? But he got all the dough, he got all the notoriety. He can go anywhere within that place and people would know him by face. And at that particular point, what our teachers describe as he has a crisis of the heart. He has a crisis of the heart. And he starts to realize that every time I stand on a minbar, every time I get in front of people, every time I'm dealing in public, I feel so drawn into how they are perceiving me. I feel so accomplished and appreciative and impressed with my own self. And so Imam Ghazali decides to vacate his position. He leaves the university and he goes hundreds of miles away into Syria, into complete obscurity. And some days you'll find Imam Ghazali just sweeping up the mosque. Nobody knows him. At one period of time, during that time of him being away, people wonder, where is Imam Ghazali at? He was in the back listening to a dars and somebody quoted him. Imam Ghazali said such and such. And he said he could feel just a little bit of a percentage, a little bit of a weight of like, they're mentioning my name in here. So what did he do? He packed up his bags and left immediately. And so this is somebody, right, who in our estimation, in our world, and the places that we dwell, right, he walked in the room, everybody get up and like lose their mind, right? He's running completely away from it. And so what we've been given with all of these devices is to be able to make ourselves a little pharaoh, to be able to praise ourselves, to be able to worship oneself. And so Imam Ghazali is saying, I'm going to do away with all of that. And the point is that even within our own life, even when we find ourselves in our daily dealings with people, right? Everybody, even if just for a day, even if just for a week, couple hours, inshallah, we hope that maybe, some years, everybody must Ghazali themselves. Everybody must turn it off, step away from it, and then check your heart when people see you. Are you happy that people see you? Are you happy to be in the company of people that Allah has allowed you to be in company of? It is not to say that that we shouldn't use these tools for da'wah, we shouldn't use these tools for the service of the people, but our intention, right? Our intention means everything. Our intention changes the whole scope of everything. We were sitting in a gathering 2 years ago with some of the pious, and a lot of the brothers were with me, young students. They were saying, "Oh, they were asked to speak. They're like, I don't really want to speak. There's cameras in here. Everybody was playing the humble Sufi. I don't know. I'd rather not, please." And one of the teachers, he got a little riled up and upset. He was like, we sit here, we watch Habib Omar, Hafizahullah. We watch him every day, give talks constantly, right? He said, you know something? Whether the cameras were there or not, he's going to be the same way with Allah. You think he's the audience. You think you're the audience for him. You could believe he's talking, he's having a dialogue with the creator of the heavens and the earth. You happen to just be sitting in the bleachers. And so he said, get off this like pious high horse that you want. You asked to talk in front of somebody. You asked to serve in a certain way that happens to have eyes on you. Do it. Say what you have to say from your heart. Preach as if the flood is coming, as Imam Ghazali once said, and sit down. And don't get caught up into, is this going to be a camera? All these sorts of things. And so I took from that. One is that what do we learn of the pious? Is that they have indifference to Allah's creation. They have an indifference to whether people are watching or not. They have an indifference to what people have or not. And so one of the teachers said that many a father, right? Sir, we play with the baby, wash the baby. Oh, mashallah, he changed diapers. He's an amazing father. Oh, people clap it up for him, all of that. Many a father will go on Yom Qiyamah, be looking for those diaper changes, and they won't be there. Why? He did it for show. If we're looking for the times, we had to buy some coats for the kids. We're looking for those on the record. They're not there. Why? You think about, they're going to say, that's a stand-up guy. And it won't be there because Allah wasn't in mind. The intent didn't have Allah in mind. Many a mother, many a wife will be think about the curry, the chicken that they cook. We think about it, man, I made that roast beef. It was amazing. They'd be looking for it on their record. It won't be there. Why? Because they were thinking firstly about the impression of human beings. Instead of, this is a service that I'm allowed to do because the owner of the heavens and the earth has allowed me to do it. And I'm seeking his pleasure alone. Allah says in the Quran in Surah Baqarah, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَشْرِي نَفْسَهُ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ رَءُوفٌ بِالْعِبَادِ. Allah says, and among men, there's one who sells his very soul to seek the pleasure of Allah. And Allah is very kind to his servants. Many of us are asked every day to bargain our souls for something else. Many of us are asked every day to bargain our capital, bargain our time, right? Bargain our hearts for something other than Allah. And what do we learn from the pious? What do we learn from the people who we see in our dealings every day who have a true orientation towards Allah? They've wagered every part of their being to please Allah. They've wagered every part of their day, most of their day, whatever they can be conscious of, to praise Allah and to seek Allah's benefit. And so remedies that we get from having these hearts distraction when we seeking infamy, when we want to be big up, we want people to know us. I want to walk in a room and people be like, there you go, there's the guy. To constantly remind our hearts of death and our impoverishment to Allah. Sheikh Ahmed Bamba, Allah have mercy on him, he said, my poverty to Allah is my staff. It's the thing on which I lean. So our impoverishment to Allah, that without Allah's grace, without Allah's mercy, that none of what we do, what we take part in, what we think we're good at, would be present without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala having rahmah on us. The second thing, leave a portion of what's done for others in secret. To be a person who is without a home. You may be living somewhere under a bridge, somewhere off the side of the road. In the last 10 years, you have to now think about, is somebody going to come and give something to me? The money might be in one hand. I gotta make sure I check the other hand for a camera. Somebody who might be in the dunya is squeezing them, constricting them, crushing them, feel like they ribs touching. Huh? And then, at times you got people, it's like, man, let me stay right there real quick. Hold on, let's get the angle right. Let me give you this money. And so that's a reality. Not only on the top of just figuring out, like, when am I going to sleep tonight? I got to think about, man, is my relative going to see this? And so what do we take from that? We need to be like Zayn al-Abidin. Allah have mercy on him. When he died, murmurs outside of the masjid, right? People, they see you go outside the masjid, all these people out there, what are they here for? So one of the people says there was somebody who used to drop us food every night. And we had no food, right? We had no food in a while. And the only person who knew was one of the people that served Zayn al-Abidin, because they could see the marks from the straps of carrying bags on his back. But in the midst of the night, he was serving people. So take time, right? Not saying that, you might have to document things just so that other people can pitch in. But a larger part of that is doing things extremely quietly, very clandestine, inshallah, so that we know that at least within the human realm, this is a transaction between us and Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. The third thing is being present with people, being truly present with people. If you were to ask any of the Sahaba, anybody who spent time with Rasulullah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you would have asked them, who does he love the most? They'd be like, me. He loved me. So when I'm with him, I feel like his whole entire being, his whole entire world is oriented towards me. And so, very practical fix for that. Don't talk to people from the side. Rasulullah, when he was addressing people, he would address them head on. This is somebody who at any moment, news from the heavens could descend on him, who's given knowledge from here until end of time. And yet and still, with a human being, he's able to be completely present as if they were the most precious thing to him in the entire world. Infamy strays you away from that. What does infamy do? Seeking notoriety do? It turns people into little transactions. It turns people into, I got to sift through these people and see what I want out of them. And the last thing, and we took this in our readings class, starve the nafs of what it inclines to. Right? If the nafs is saying 2 more plates, that one. If the nafs is saying, you know what, when I walk in here, I'm walking straight to the front, and I'll be present so everybody see me. Everybody catch this fit, as we say, right? Starve your nafs of it. Starve your nafs of trying to be known. Allah says in the Quran, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Al-Hakum Takathur, you are distracted by mutual competition and amassing worldly benefits. Hatta zurtumul maqabir, until you reach the graves. Kalla sawfa ta'lamun. No, you will soon know. Kalla law ta'lamun imma al-yaqeen la tarawunna al-jahim thumma la tus'aluna yawma idhin 'anil na'im. He says again, you will soon know. No, if you only knew with a sure knowledge, you will certainly see Jahannam. Then you will see it with full certitude, full certainty. Then you will be asked about all the pleasures you enjoyed in the world. There will be a time when we stand before Allah and we'll be asked, oh, what did you take part in? All right, what did you get happy about? What did you get pumped up about doing? What made you feel good that was outside of what pleased me? There was a woman who used to clean the masjid. Rasulullah didn't see for a few days. And he started to inquire about this African woman who just come clean the masjid. Simple lady, just come clean the masjid. And so some of the companions told her, she passed away, unfortunately. We buried her. It was late, didn't want to bother you. They weren't holding her in the sort of esteem in the same regard that he asked the question. He asked the question like, where's this woman who used to clean the masjid, who cleans the masjid. He didn't even know she was dead. We buried her. And so he said, show me where her grave is. He goes to her grave, stands on top of her grave, and makes janazah for her. She's practically unknown to people. Who is she known by? Habib. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? First, we be known by him. Then we be known by the inhabitants, right, of the heavens. Then we be known by Al-Habib, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then those who come after that, and those who come after that. And that knowing, being known in that way might not translate to a whole bunch of eyes and ears. It might not. It might just be some simple service, or you just coming and going. And what is the sign of somebody who has immense impact? All right, is that when they're no longer doing something, they're no longer in a place, wherever they said a word in that place, they are dearly missed. And so this is a story of a woman. Allah have mercy on her, raise her station. We don't know her name, but she was dearly missed by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma salli wa sallam wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيدا. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد المفتاح باب رحمة الله عدد ما في علم الله صلاة والسلام دائمين بدوام ملك الله وعلى آله وصحبه عدد كل ذرة فمرة. قال الله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وقال الله تعالى اتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. الحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا وأخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. أقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله